Good morning. It's the 8th of May 2024. I have to get that right every time because it's he'd say March instead of May. You're welcome back to the kitchen table and a cup of tea here. Now, this thing that's been going on for years about politicians calling the poor and the working class and all that needing help, in my view, is a scam. It's a dirty scam. The ordinary person, going back historically in Ireland, you could have a family of 13 people. There was a bit of ground. One lad got the ground, or one girl got the land, and the rest had to go out on the world. And some got council houses to help them along, and others worked and they worked, and eventually they did very well in the economic um, circumstances that were our capitalist society. Now, I'm not for a minute saying our capitalist society has to have no reins on it. There have to be services and all for that. But it's clear that as the years go on and as elections take place, goodies are offered by way of health services, education, and all of that. And as you all know from my channel, education is top of my priority. I believe it's so important to have independent, good education so that people can think for themselves. But eventually, these people grow up and they end up being the big farmers. It has happened that fellas I know in the farming sector and the cattle and sheep and all that sector were born in big families, huge families, on tiny farms, and ended up owning gentlemen's residence through pure hard work and endeavour. And that is the key. Those who aren't so lucky but still try manage to get jobs and they manage to retire and they're relatively comfortable off. And those that are single come down to town and on Saturday night and I do have a pint with them. The idea that the government has to always be propping up everyone and that it has to have a permanent underclass in which to suck up their votes for the left wing candidates is the biggest falsehood, and it's a bigger lie than wind energy, solar energy, electric cars, or anything else. They need a constant pool of people who look to the government to give them a lift up. And so you have the situation that if you had a closed economy, if Ireland was closed with no people coming in or out, the people in it would work to achieve good things, they'd pay taxes, they'd vote for politicians who think like them and give the next generation the same chance as them, giving them the services and the tools to get on in life without having to be carried by the state. Okay? But this is why the migration thing is so being pushed. They know that if ordinary Irish people got up and got going, they wouldn't vote for the like of the mad left socialism of people before puberty, solidarity, Sinn Féin, which is a hard left party, hard onto this worker party. There used to be Sinn Féin, the Workers' Party with Thomas McGilla, all trying to appeal to the ones in the small houses and the housing estates who may work or may not. You see, so also the Greens. Now the Greens are supposed to be an environmental party, but they're not an environmental party. They're a cultural Marxist woke party, extremely so. So my point and what I'm trying to get across to people is we got to get our voters to think in that way. You got to decide: are you in the bracket that wants to stay and your children dependent on the likes of Sinn Féin, dependent on the likes of the present Fianna Fáil and the present Fine Gael and the present Labour Party? That is the point. I've always said the political spectrum is round like the face of a clock. It's not a bar. The top of it is the most extreme violence by the state. The bottom of it is freedom, something similar like you have in Iceland or Switzerland. So you get the point about that. Stalin was a tyrant. Was he right wing or left wing? It didn't matter if he was killing you, what he was, the actual label you attached to him. Hitler's Nazi party was National Socialist Workers' Party. He was a socialist starting off. He appealed to the group of votes in the lower spectrum, but when he got on, he turned out to be one of the most severe right-wing killers ever. So this thing about left and right is nonsense. This is all about deceit. How the left-wing parties deceive the voter into thinking they're the way to prosperity in future, when in fact they're the way to destruction. And the proof of that is that as people improve, we all work very hard. Irish people work very hard. British people work relatively hard too. As we get to the stage that we're beginning to realise we don't need the left-wing parties, they resort to mass migration to fill the ever vacant void. They bring in them from abroad. They know they'll have nothing common, and so they can get votes for them. And you see the result of that with the election of Sigmund Kahn, a hard leftist, semi-communist foreigner that's running London. The people there voted for him because he has that many of his own type in that the Englishman has no say. And you see too that not in all cases, in many cases, the English voted Labour because that somebody, and as is posted underneath, somebody has nobbled the Conservatives. There's no Conservatives at all. That's all a scam. So you see the point I'm making. So it's important to understand that in the context of the current migrant crisis and all of that. And I'll leave you at that now, just to understand there is no such thing as socialism. It's only a way to fool the people, either by brute force, like Hitler did, or by the ballot box to get votes. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't see it like that, and they're winning. My job is not to win so much. My job is to educate my viewers so that they can pass this around as we approach the next election. Goodbye. We'll see you back for something else. Comment underneath.